Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. Today we're going to talk about how to become a better angler. We're going to talk a whole lot about preparation because I believe preparation is what separates weekend warriors from professional anglers. How an angler prepares for the coming day, the coming week, the coming season, that's going to have a whole lot to do with that angler's either success or lack of success. So today I'm going to talk about what I call the preparation package. This package has three key components. We're going to talk about those components. We're going to break each component down, and we're going to talk about how to take each one of those pieces of the puzzle and put it together. How to do that efficiently and effectively. When you have that puzzle together, your success is going to go off the charts. So with that, let's get into the video. I have to tell you right away that if you guys are expecting a lot of action in this video and a lot of hero shots of me catching fish and holding fish up to the camera, this isn't going to be that video. It might not be the video for you. You have to remember, I am an angler first and YouTube is my hobby. The fishing out here on the Delta is starting to perk up. I planned on coming out and doing this video and throwing in a bunch of B-roll and some fishing shots and things like that. But the bottom line, I guess I'm just too lazy. So if you're interested in an action video, man, check out some of my other videos. But if you're interested in becoming a better angler, this may be of real importance for you. So make sure you stick around, watch the whole thing, check it out. Let's get right into the video. Number one, pre-trip planning. Obviously, that's what you're going to do before you get on the water. This can consist of everything from looking at maps, doing all the homework that you need to do, looking at weather forecast, picking up as much information from friends and other anglers that you can, getting out there and kind of putting a plan together, or a loosely based plan, but everything you need to do, getting the boat ready, making sure you got gas, making sure you have the right baits on board, the right rods, making sure your rods are spooled with good line, you've got good knots, good leaders, everything's ready to go. That is pre-trip planning. Next, we're going to talk about scouting. I consider scouting going out on the water, keeping in mind that you're going to be running around looking for spots with no intention to fish. You are just scouting different locations. You're going to be looking for prime areas. If you have done your job the night before where you're looking at maps, you're going to kind of have an idea of what area you want to go into, whether it's a lake or river. You're going to be looking for drop-offs, humps, saddles, ledges. If you're on a lake, if you're out here on the Delta, you may be looking for Tule Islands, Tule Points, docks, rock banks with nice troughs in them, so on and so forth. All of that we're going to talk about as being scouting. The next piece of the puzzle is pre-fishing. Pre-fishing for me is once you've done your scouting, you're going to go out and you're going to pre-fish the areas that you think are going to be holding fish. Now, pre-fishing is different than when you're out, concentrating on maybe a tournament bag or concentrating on an area that you know has fish in it and you want to really put a lot of time in that. When you're pre-fishing, you're putting 4 or 5 of your confidence baits on the deck. You're going around and fishing very quickly. You're not looking to catch a ton of fish. You're just looking to find the fish. You're looking to use some baits that are getting some action, and just kind of using that to help you put your total package together. Now I mentioned there were 3 pieces to the puzzle, and actually there could be what I would call the 4th piece of the puzzle. So first piece is pre-trip planning, then we got scouting, then we got pre-fishing. Now if we've done all of that and everything is working out, maybe the 4th piece of the puzzle is when we are actually on the water, we have our spot lined up, we have our bait set up, and we are catching fish. That's probably the shortest period of time that we spend in bass fishing. Most of the time we spend on that pre-trip planning. You have to look at this from the eyes of where you are at as an angler. If you are a beginner angler or if you are a, say, seasoned professional, Each piece of this puzzle changes daily, and the time that you spend in pre-trip planning, scouting, and pre-fishing is going to be different. Now that we know the three pieces of the puzzle, let's talk about how to integrate these three pieces of the puzzle so that they all fit and we do it efficiently, quickly, and hopefully effectively. Number one, time management is going to be a key. Not so much with the pre-trip planning. You could spend a week pre-trip planning, but once you get on the water, the scouting and the pre-fishing, your time management doing that is going to be very critical. We'll get into that in just a minute. The time that you dedicate to your scouting and pre-fishing is going to change daily. This is a puzzle that changes every day. So you may spend a lot more time one day pre-fishing, a lot less time scouting, so on and so forth. Your scouting doesn't always have to be done as you get on the lake. You may start by pre-fishing, and you may go into a scouting mode and then back to pre-fishing and back to scouting. So now's the time we're getting on the lake. We're going to take for granted that we've all done a great job in our pre-trip planning. We got everything on the boat. We have several places that we want to come out and start to scout. Here's the thing about scouting. I never scout the first hour of daylight, or the last hour of daylight. When that sun's coming up, when the sun's going down, these are prime fishing times, and you want to be fishing during that period of time. So you don't want to be scouting around when you have a prime fishing time. Here on the Delta, I don't scout when it's high outgoing tide, because that's the tide that I really like to fish. I'll do all my scouting at low dead tide. That's when, it's tough to catch fish, and I would just as soon be looking for spots at that time. So think about that. And also think about weather conditions. If you're having some fronts come in, or you have cloud cover come in, or the breeze is picking up, laying down, there are going to be times in the day that you don't want to be running around scouting, even if you don't know the lake. During those key times, and it could be moon phases, it can be solunar periods, so on and so forth, that's going to be the time that you want to be, maybe pull up to a likely looking bank or a likely looking spot that you found and start fishing. Then at low tide or midday when the sun's high, or you get a lot of water skiers on the lake or whatever it may be, that's when you want to be scouting. How much time should you spend scouting? That's going to depend on who you are, what kind of electronics you have on your boat. I'm going to drop the F-bomb right now so the young kids maybe cover up their ears. If you have forward-facing sonar, that's going to cut down a lot of your scouting time. And you guys that have forward-facing sonar, this may not be so much for you. I'm probably talking to a lot of the guys that are out there kind of visually looking at things and using downscope and things like that. So think about that. And also, when I am scouting, I try to get at least 3 or 4 places that I want to fish. How do I know they're places that I want to fish? Number one, when I pull up, maybe I've looked at 3 or 4 spots on the map, I pull up to a drop-off or a weed bed or a flat or whatever it is, I see bait there. I see good clean vegetation. I see good cover. I see maybe I visually see fish. Never leave fish to find fish. Newer anglers need to stay on those fish when they find them. Tournament anglers, if they're big fish and those are tournament size fish, you better get out of there. You better hope nobody saw you go in there. Nobody saw you come out. Erase it from everybody's mind, because you don't want to sit on those fish and catch them. You want to leave them there, come back tournament day and catch them then. So that is your scouting situation. Now, once you have 3, 4, 5, 6 of these places scouted, then I would go around and make my bread run and pre-fish those areas. And remember, when I say pre-fishing, I've got 3 or 4 rods on my deck, and these are my confidence baits. As I go up to, and I may not even throw all 3 or 4 of those rods as I pull up to various areas. I'll pull up to a spot that I've seen in my scouting. Maybe it's rock. Maybe that's a bank that I'll only throw my jig and maybe a crankbait and something that is going to be good for that particular water in front of me. Now, the next spot that I go to that I've seen pre-fishing, maybe it's full of weeds. I might drop that crankbait. I might pick up a weedless worm and maybe a chatterbait. So even though I have maybe 4, 5, 6 rods on deck, I may only use 2 or 3 of those rods in each phase of my pre-fishing. Now, as I get a better lay of the land, and I'm only throwing 3 or 4 casts with each bait, I'm seeing if I'm getting bit, I'm seeing if fish are active, I'm seeing if fish are following my baits. I'm just getting a good lay of the land to see what's going on. At that point, I've got the rest of the day to go to my 2, 3, 4 prime spots. If I'm at the place for 2 or 3 days, maybe I'm visiting a lake that I haven't fished, that's going to give me 4 or 5 prime locations to fish the rest of the day. The second day, I may have to do a little less time scouting and more time pre-fishing. I'll still want to do a little scouting because I don't want to rely on just 3 or 4 spots. Every day, I want to do enough scouting to maybe find another spot or 2. So by the 3rd day, I'm on the lake, or by the time I'm going, if I'm pre-fishing for a tournament, I don't just have an A spot and a B spot. I've got an A spot, a B spot, a C spot on down the line. And when you're out on the water, consciously think about, did I do my pre-trip planning? I got everything ready to go. How much time do I need to spend scouting? How much time do I need to spend pre-fishing each of these locations? As you do this over and over and over, you will get more efficient at it, and you will see that your catches are going to start to increase. Now, if you're a raw beginner, you're not going to go from catching 1 or 2 fish a day to pulling in a 20-pound limit. It's going to be catching fish and picking up fish incrementally better throughout the season. So maybe if you start on a lake where, man, you're having trouble just putting a couple fish in the boat, by the end of that season, maybe you're getting more and more consistent in putting a 5 fish limit in the boat, or 7 or 8 fish. And maybe those fish, if you're a tournament angler, may only be 7, 8, 9, 10 pounds. Maybe after a year of doing that, maybe a couple of years, you're pre-scouting, you're doing everything you're looking to do, then you can start to see your weights go up. And as weights go up, it gets harder and harder. It's easy to go from 8 pounds to 12 pounds. It's not as easy to go from 12 pounds to 15 pounds in a tournament. And then when you start getting over 15 pounds and in that 20 and 25 pound bag, depending on the lake that you're fishing, that's when it gets really, really hard. And that's what's going to take years and years to just do what we've been talking about, really do a lot of preparation. And believe me, the tournament pros that I get to fish with, the guys that are winning tournaments, they put in a tremendous amount of time and effort when it comes to pre-fishing. And as I said in the beginning of the video, that's what separates hardcore tournament anglers from weekend warriors. With that, I want to thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, make sure you hit me up in the comments. And I hope that some of the things that I've said will stick with you. And don't do exactly what I do, but use these 3 pieces of the puzzle and make your own puzzle so that it's your style of fishing. That's when you're going to develop your style, and you're going to have much more fun on the water. You're going to catch more fish, and it's going to be more satisfying for you. Thanks a lot. We'll see you guys on the river. Until next time, goodbye.